Novel Bean, acquiring talent in a dungeon. C1, Day 1, entering the dungeon. Chapter 1, Day 1, entering the dungeon. Prologue. Someone's own proclaimed the truth of life. Property and status aren't important. For those who are faithful to reality, happiness we call naturally. But was that reality true? I didn't know how to say it, but the way of thinking was way too arrogant. They were looking down on the existence of human beings. Everyone wanted to become richer. Everyone wanted to become more influential. Everyone wanted to build up to their power until the end. Fly higher, become better, they wanted to be more special. Not just men, but humans were born with desire, a dream. But no matter how they reached for their dreams, they couldn't touch them. Money, family, problems of natural talents or social limitation all stopped them. Everyone succumbed to reality as their desire were trampled on. Happiness didn't follow people were faithful to reality. They just learned how to suppress their desire and dream. They deceived themselves. This was reality. Even those who were happy dreamed endlessly. They dreamed of becoming professional athletes, famous singer or actor in a virtual drama. The freedom to feel desire was given to everyone, but it was unfortunate for some. The number of people likely to abandon reality rose. Perhaps it was their salvation. Maybe it was the mercy of the gods looking down on earth for entertainment. That night, at midnight, a hall opened in the front of Toad filled with desire. Chapter 1, Day 1, Entering the Dungeon. The group presentation was successful. It didn't feel that great, but it was a neat result with no specific problem. The demanding professor also complimented us. Somehow, I feel good. A student pretended to be drunk on the sense of accomplishment, when in reality they had been missing for half the meeting. He used the excuse of something came up every time, but when I looked at his public SNS account, he had gone out to pay. Everybody worked hard. This is the result of your hard work. The student wearing a baseball cap over his shaved hair imitated the leader. The reason he could act so shamelessly was because he had made a huge difference. He knew there was a large gap. He didn't want to be associated as a pleb and instead styled himself as a prince. As soon as he started investigating, he became a professional in material research. Honestly, I was a little concerned. As a result, I'm glad we finished well. Ah, yes, you should have been worried. This jerk was formidable. He was a guy who advertised I am a cool person with this word and action. But no matter how I looked, he was just a person with a cool sickness. Korean slang for someone who think they really cool but they not. His PowerPoint writing skills were only at the level of a second year middle school student. No matter how much he was asked to modify the PowerPoint, he just ignored them with an expression like he was chewing on poo. It wouldn't be unusual if he became a thug. This was the first time I had worked with him, but there was no sense in telling the professor about the problem. Saying who started a conflict by saying you're wrong would receive a penalty. In the case of X, it was inevitable. Anyway, I needed to perform well in front of the professor because my scholarship depended on this semester score. Being too emotional would just cause collateral damage. Thus, I didn't do anything. Shall we go to eat to celebrate? How about dinner? Okay, me too. I'll pass. I have private tutoring. The three people stared blankly at me. Really? Then it can't be helped. It's too bad. I felt like they were glaring daggers at my back as I waved my hand and turned away. I didn't think I could impersonate a genius. I was just tired and ready to go sleep. I lived a very hard life. I used everything that was available to me. My family wasn't one that could be called poor. They had high expectation for their only son, but they couldn't afford the tuition for a first-rate private school. Rather than taking my parents' suggestion of a 100% funded scholarship, I desperately sought alternative. The World Welfare Division, I searched various student foundation and entrance screening tests to find all the low-income assistance method possible. I asked a few high school juniors, for example, of the college entrance exam, and I went to private tutoring during the winter break. I managed to solve the admission fees and the cost of moving to Seoul. Of course, it was a strenuous achievement. I put in the effort to be as prepared as possible. Not only did I get support for a low-income household, I also received a scholarship based on my grades and my recommendation from teachers. I also cared about human relationships, so I have a good relationship with most people. I networked as much as possible with seniors who had already graduated from computer engineering and found a part-time job whenever there was a break. When taking into consideration my age and family, I was very excellent in the group bracket I was in. I put aside my pride and used it as a driving force. Bong! As I waited at the school bus stop to go home, a foreign car passed by me. It was a stranger, but I could see his face. He was around the same age as me, maybe a bit younger, possibly 20-year old. I wasn't envious, I was just frustrating. I have seen so often it in recent years. The talent of money, the so-called wall that I couldn't cross. I stayed up all night with a few cups of coffee to solve algorithm problems with a few friends. I became more efficient. I had friends who went out and earned a lot of money for the first 10 years after graduation and then returned home rich. I wanted to be like them. No, I wanted to surpass them. Was that too greedy? Shouldn't I concentrate on the present and focus on my current life? Clink. As soon as I opened the door, I threw myself onto the bed. Today there was no such thing as private tutoring. I just wanted to take a break. This day it was difficult to endure the exhaustion I felt at the time. I closed my eyes. It wasn't midnight when I opened them again. I rubbed my eyes and sat up. The clock on the wall showed that it was precisely midnight. However, I felt like I'd slept pretty well. I go up to go to the bathroom. The moment that I looked a step, I faltered. There was nothing on my feet to touch the ground. Yuck. I staggered and barely managed to throw myself back on the bed. There was a hole in my floor. It was a rectangular and approximately 2 meters in length, but it wasn't just an opening, there was a stone border and a stone stair leading down. I stared at the floor for a while, but the hole remained the same. My next took that was I should leave the house, however, what it is. I'd made my way to the front door, but I wouldn't budge. The handle was stuck. I thought it had been glued in place. My remaining drowsiness disappeared, and as goosebumps formed, I opened my phone to request help. The call is currently not available in this area. There was just a voice message stating was out of range. I re-entered my room and tried to open the window. Just like the door, it didn't move at all. I desperately opened my mobile phone again, but belatedly realized something that only raised my fear. 12. A few minutes had suddenly passed since I woke in the hall The clock in the wall has the same. The hour, minute, second hand was fixed at 12. Not anything. Not moving. Was this a nightmare? My sense told me that it wasn't the answer. Even if it was a vivid dream, I gave off the feeling of reality. If this was a dream, then I wouldn't even be thinking about it. Lie down in bed or step on the stairs. What? I automatically stood, swung a fist as letter appeared in front of my eyes, but my fist didn't touch anything. The letters were still floating in the air. That was all all it said. I wondered if something else would pop up, but the word just stayed floating there. Then I talked about the meaning of the word. Lie down in my bed. My head naturally turned, and I looked at the bed. Then more letters showed up. As soon as you lie down, you will fall into a sleepy state. The hole will disappear. All your memories about the hole will be gone in the morning. The end. I wasn't as surprised as the first time. Instead, after carefully reading the letter, I turned and stared at the hole. I had seen letters above the bed, so it was only logical. More might comes up if I looked at the hole. It was correct. Day one of exploration will begin. It isn't possible to leave the dungeon before the exploration of the first floor is completed or before you are eliminated. Dungeon! It was a word I had heard before, a word I knew from games and manhwa. But if the word were true, why would I lie down on my bed? I had no intention on stepping on the staircase, knowing what was down here. An opportunity. What? New words surfaced like they were answering my subconscious thought. That wasn't the end. Explorer, Kim Hil-shun's desire. This is a mean to pursue the desire that can't be achieved normally. If I was normal, then I wouldn't step on the unknown staircase. But it was due to what I had been thinking recently. Was it because of the uncontrollable fatigue that reached its peak today? Whatever the reason, I took the word seriously, and I took a step. Explorer, Kim Hee-shul enter, opening the dungeon first floor. The world surfaced in front of my eyes. At the same time, something appeared over my head. What it is? At first glance, it was a red fluorescent light, a square bar of red light. Wait a minute, red bar above my head? I had seen this in before. Perhaps letters appears in the front of the bar. HP bar displayed the current health of the explorer. Current balance 121 on 121. End of the chapter 1.